You know, I had read about the early heroes and heroines of the Baha'i faith in the history books. Back in Iran, when I was very small, my parents would tell me the stories and say to me, Ruhi, you must grow up to be strong and brave like them. But to me, they were just history. It seemed that the time for that kind of heroism and martyrdom was over. Conditions weren't ideal, but they were a lot better than they had been for those early Baha'is. I thought the time for that kind of persecution was over. But then in 1979, the followers of Ayatollah Khomeini deposed the Shah. The Islamic Revolution began, and our world, it turned upside down. It was crazy. One day, it seemed, I was walking along the street to school wearing my regular clothes, and the next day, I was told to hide myself under a chador. Not one hair of my head was allowed to show. A woman's hair is evil, the revolutionary government said. No makeup, no immodest clothing. For Baha'is, soon there was not even a school to go to. We were heretics, unclean, unworthy of education, expelled. My parents, they were fired from their jobs. So was my friend Simin Sabiri, because she was a member of the misguided Baha'i sect. What kind of threat could she possibly have posed to the agricultural business where she worked? Then her family's house was confiscated. So was ours and many others too. My grandfather's pension was cut off. Soon we had nothing left. But the one thing they couldn't take away from us was our faith. And soon that's all we had, our touchstone. Maybe we'd been too comfortable, too complacent, but the revolution woke us up. Some people arose and took huge risks to help others. People like Hidayat Siavashi. It's crazy. Before the revolution, I don't even remember him being around much. He was a crazy guy, always joking around, never seeming to be serious about anything. Everyone, I'm so glad you could all come to help wish Shirin all the best now that she has graduated from university with her degree in sociology. Did you know that even though her professors know she is a Baha'i, yes, they still quote from her honors thesis? Wow. So Shirin, we hope you'll be successful in whatever you choose to do, and we want to congratulate you on your excellent work. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming here this evening to congratulate me on my success, too.
You had come on now. What have you accomplished? They wouldn't let you near a university gate with your marks.
No, my friend. I, too, have graduated. And I have the papers to prove it. Mona Khanum, will you please do the honors?
It's a high school diploma.
Hidayat, you finally got your high school certificate. And what, it only took you...
4 years, yes, 4 more years. I suppose you could say that I was on the extended part, much like that poem that you've been working on, Faubion.
You know, you could have graduated with all the rest of us, Hidayat, if you'd only stopped joking around and started studying a little more.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? You're 4 years behind the rest of us.
4 years, 1 year, 10 years. Whether grain of rice or stone, they both sink alike. Right, Farhad?
You think it really matters since the revolution? I mean, what good is a high school diploma to any of us? It's useless.
It makes a good fan.
Come on now, look. All the Baha'is, they've been fired.
Ugh, the revolution. I don't want to talk about the revolution tonight. Can't we talk about anything else?
Of course. Like what?
Like anything. Happy things. How about that time we were out in the countryside, remember? We'd all taken our lunches, we sat outside just the most beautiful little village. We spread out a picnic, and everyone began to eat, except for Farhad and Hidayat, remember?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, Shireen wasn't there that day.
But I was, and no one could figure out why the two of them weren't eating. So Ruby offered her some of her food, but Hidayat said no.
They said that they were waiting for cello kebab. Cello kebab in the middle of nowhere. Like that.
We all laughed and asked them if they'd expected it to fall out of the sky.
So we finished eating, and they were still waiting. And then, all of a sudden, along the road, came 3 women from the village carrying large platters filled with cello kebab.
And it was so good.
Ah, yes. Remember that time when we were meeting, and Ruhi asked for someone to say a prayer? And Farhad, he volunteered. We were all quiet, probably because we were so surprised. But he said a prayer, and then he said another one. And then he stood up and he said, there, that was the opening prayer and the closing prayer. Now we can go home.
For those near to God, few words are needed.
Well, I won't ask Farhad to say the prayers tonight. And anyways, if I was going to ask someone, it would be Mona, because her voice is so beautiful. But right now, refreshments are ready, and everyone is welcome to the table.
Shirin. Hi. I'm sorry that I spoiled your evening,
No, I mean, how could we have spoiled anything?
but it's your special night, and I shouldn't have made my graduation announcement when...
No, you deserve a party just as much as I do.
Oh, that's good of you. I really just wanted to say congratulations. I know you worked hard, and you're very smart. Well done.
Why, thank you, Hidoya. And I must congratulate you too on your graduation.
Well, thank you, Monachon. May I escort you to the food?
Hidoyat. Always joking around. Never seeming to be serious about anything. Nobody knew that he was serving as a special assistant to the local governing council of the Baha'is of Shiraz. So nobody would have ever guessed that on the night he was arrested and his house was searched, they found in every drawer, every closet, every suitcase, documents he'd stored to protect the assembly members. They beat him and questioned him for hours. Who would have ever guessed that Hidoyat would choose to do something like that? In time, we all, in our own way, had to face what our world had become, and we all had to choose our path forward.
They wouldn't allow us to go to school. So, what did we do? We started our own schools. I suppose I was like a lot of other young people growing up. I took education for granted. I remember plenty of mornings when I'd rather stay in bed than get up and go to school. I thought it was boring. I remember I liked hanging out with my friends, playing games, talking. It's crazy how it all changed the moment that they told us we couldn't go anymore. After that, I remember I started getting together with friends and we started talking about math, chemistry, even calculus. We never talked about those things outside of class before. Some of us, we got together to teach the little children so they wouldn't fall too far behind. It's crazy to think that they arrested Mona, who herself was only 16 years old, for teaching 5-year-olds how to read and say prayers. Well, nothing that happened after the revolution made any logical sense to any of us.
In those early days of the revolution, many Baha'is in Shiraz were arrested, young and old, men, women, children. It didn't matter to the government. They wanted to create a sense of panic. It could be anybody next. There were 2 prisons they kept the Baha'is in. The first was called Sepa, and it was bad enough. But the second one was worse. It was called Adal Abad. I remember Zareen Mohimi would go there several times a week to visit the Baha'is kept there. And soon enough, we were all visiting people that we knew very well.
I have come tonight from Adel-Abad. What can I write? How can I describe that place? What tongue could portray the sort of world it is? Which words and what story can depict what I beheld? Was it a sweet dream or a bitter reality?
I was in session today. I asked the judges, now that you have the lists and names of all the Baha'is in Shiraz, why don't you just arrest everyone at once, kill us, and be done with it? Do you know what one of them said? He said, of course we are going to kill you. All of you. But we are going to do it quietly so that the rest of the world won't notice. I laughed in his face. Fine, I said, but even if you succeed in killing all of the Baha'is, what are you going to do about the Baha'is in the rest of the nation? Or in the rest of the world? What are you going to do about them? Oh, he said, we have plans for them too. Plans? What plans?
Oh, my young friends, they have always had plans. From the moment our faith was born, they've tried to wipe out our community.
Yet, we're still here, in spite of the tortures and the killings. I don't know why they think this will work. Why does it enrage them so much that we won't deny what we believe?
Look, no one wants to die. I don't want to die. I'd much rather be back at the pharmacy, at the medical school. I loved my work, like I was doing some good, helping people. But here I am, and it's come down to one simple choice. I tell the judges, I believe in Baha'u'llah. But they don't like my answer. Deny, they say. No, I tell them. No. So they decide to take my life. That's it. But how could I deny something that's knit into the core of my being. What kind of life would that be? So what's left for me? I could give my life, which I love. It's all the good I could do now. So if I have to do it, I will do it. Willingly, joyfully.
It just seems so insane. To torture people, to put them to death, just because they profess a different faith? Look, how much saner would it be to see each religion as a different chapter of the same book? To see the beauty and the truth in each and every one of them? Imagine that.
Oh, Farhad June, you're starting to sound like a Baha'i, an infidel, and we're gonna have to throw you in prison for that.
Look, we won't live to see it, but the world is moving towards the day when all of its peoples will be united. It's promised in the sacred scriptures. It's our destiny. So, the Guards' idea of trying to stop the faith of Baha'u'llah, it's empty.
Do you really think they believe they can kill all the Baha'is in the whole world?
Do they think they can? Absolutely. Will they? I don't see it.
You know what I see? I see the Revolutionary Guard marching into Anchorage, Alaska, or some small island like Vanuatu in the South Pacific to arrest all the Baha'is there. You know what I see?
Farhad, stop. Let me envision this. Okay, go.
I see the Revolutionary Guard marching down Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. And marching, and marching, and marching.
My friends, when Abdul Baha says, I want you to be happy, to smile, to laugh, to rejoice, so that others may be made happy like you, he must have been thinking about someone like you too. Thank you for lightening all of our hearts.
Now I'm imagining them invading Greenland.
I have come tonight from Adalabad. There, within its high and heavy walls, souls mightier than those walls are chained. There, each stone cries out in wonder. Wonder at the self-sacrifice. Wonder at the heroes who will awaken the world.
Farhad, my heart is full thinking about that poem by Hafez you were reciting the other day. About reunion. How does it go again?
Yeah, it starts. Where are the tidings of union that I shall arise? Forth from the dust, I will rise to welcome thee. My soul like a homing bird, yearning for paradise, shall rise and soar from the snares of this world, set free.
Rory, you are to come with us. You should say goodbye.
I knew it! It's finally our turn. I knew it!
Back, Siavashi, you fool. We don't want you.
Well, why not me too? Oh, surely you have room for one more?
I have my orders. I'm sorry I don't have time today for your jokes. We must take Dr. Rory now.
I understand. I am ready. I will come with you gladly. It's out of our hands, Sinayat.
So it appears that even in the next world, one must have connections in order to be invited? Hedaya, what are you talking about? When you go to the next world, will you tell the Ha'ullah that I'm waiting for my invitation? Will you tell him that for me?
Of course.
Hurry it up. No more time. You need to come with me now. Come with me.
I have returned tonight from Adalabad. I ask those walls, recount to me what you've beheld. The lover's vigil, his heartbeat as he walks towards the square, what he utters as he hurries to the place of sacrifice. Oh, tell me about the melodious murmurs of prayers heard between the iron bars at the hour of dawn, and the teardrops that slowly fall upon the cheeks.
My friend Shirin and I would go and visit the Baha'is in prison often too. It was a very dangerous thing to do, and in the beginning the idea terrified Shirin. She knew that if we visited the Baha'is, the guards would realize that we were Baha'is and they would arrest us too. It was a constant concern because the Baha'is could be arrested at any given moment of the day or night, at home, on the street, anywhere. Roya and her mother and father were all arrested together. Mona and her father were arrested at their home. When Mona's mother pleaded with the guards, asking why they wanted her 16-year-old daughter, the guards said, "That's a stupid question. It's because she will soon be a great promoter of your faith." Hedayat and Farhad were arrested on their way back from visiting the family of one of the men who had been executed. And as for Shirin and I,
I'm worried about Mrs. Jahanpour, Rui. I know she's very strong spiritually, but they've been very hard on her in the prison.
do you think it's because she's so strong that makes them so hard on her?
Rui, don't look. No, don't look, I tell you. There's 2 guards behind us. They must have followed us from the prison. What are we gonna do?
We're just going to pretend like we don't see them, okay? We'll just keep walking as if nothing has happened and pretend we're window shopping.
Oh, they are following us. I knew it.
Quiet, Shirin, if we don't act suspiciously, they'll leave us alone.
Oh, I knew something bad would happen. Rui, let's run.
What's happened?
Shireen, you're shaking. What has happened?
Oh, Mama, and the guards, they followed us from the prison. I don't know, I think they...
Junam, what do you see?
Streets are quiet, Aziza. Can you please sit down? My dear children, Aziza, have some chai. This will calm you.
Shireen, Shireen, you will stay with us tonight. Clearly, it's not safe for you to be out there.
You think they saw when we came in, Rui?
I don't know, but I'm sure they have our address. I don't know why they bothered following us. Ever since they arrested Hedayat, they have all the lists. But I think Mama was right to tell you to stay here with us tonight. It's probably too dangerous for you to go back to your grandmother's. Try not to worry about it, Shirin. It won't do any good to worry about it.
I can't take this anymore. I'm so sorry. Rui, I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to bed and sleep, dream all of this away.
Revolutionary Guard, open up!
Stay calm, sit down. What is it, Aha?
Put on your shadors, we are coming in!
Yes, of course.
Get out of my way, old man. Watch them.
Yes, these are the two we want.
We're taking them in for questioning. Get ready. They'll be
Ah!
in a few hours.
No, please, this girl is a guest in our house. Oh, please. My mother and grandmother said, please. Surely you made a mistake.
There is no mistake. These are the two that we followed from the prison. They were visiting the Baha'is. You are Baha'is. You have this filth in your house. That is proof enough. Let's go.
Wait! My children never leave the house without saying a prayer. You must wait until we say a prayer.
Don't be foolish.
Surely you must respect that. We must commit them to God's care. You say you believe in
We
God.
do not say we believe, and we are tired of listening to you heretics.
We too revere Muhammad. We read the Quran.
You do not know what that means. I have had enough of this house of infidels. Let's go!
No! Hear a mother's prayer, I beg you. At least let me send my girls off with the remembrance of God. Oh, Valo, Mehrbon, Bahayeman, Todait Kon, Vatutofig Bash, Mosardim, Vatudayoyotash, Mopasmardim, Vatunaso Emerubash, Nasime Enoyati, Vashanime, Mohabati Berson, Ein.
In one passage of his writings, Baha'u'llah describes our spiritual development as a journey in which we are the wayfarers. But the landscape that we travel through on this journey isn't always easy or beautiful. Sometimes, in fact, it's downright difficult. But that's not as bad as it sounds. It's when we enter the Egypt of love that we find our long-lost Joseph. And if we never enter that wilderness, we will never come to the beauty of the friend. That prison, it was our Egypt of love. And who could have suspected the beauty that we found there?
Okay, let's play Remember When.
Okay, I'll go first. Remember when we could wear skirts and dresses in public?
Me next. Remember when we could go to school, in an actual school?
How about walking around without your fist under your chin?
How about going shopping and using two hands?
How about feeling the wind in your hair at the beach?
Ooh, that would be enough. Oh my God! You were just visiting here a few hours ago. What has happened?
The guards, they followed us to Ruhi's, and then they came in and searched when they found the Baha'i books.
Oh, Ruhi, your mother, she must have been so upset.
We always knew this would happen. I just wish Shireen hadn't been with us when it did.
Shireen, your grandmother, does she know?
Well, my dears, it does no good to weep. Here we are, and here we'll be for some time. Zareen and Mona and Roya will tell you about the routines here. But first, why don't we sit together and say some prayers for the strength of your families? We know this is very hard on those we have left behind. Allahumma ya Sobun, ya Hodus, ya Hanano, ya Mannan. Allahumma ya Sobun,
Ya Hodus, Ya Hananok, Ya Manan. Allahumma yassur, Ya Hodus, Ya Hananok, Ya Manan.
What was life in prison like? Well, on a practical level, things were very bad. Oh, they fed us when they wanted to, not at regular meal times. We were allowed to shower for a few minutes each week. We were allowed visitors, but often the guards wouldn't even allow us the full 10 minutes that we were permitted. Our job was cleaning the toilets, or if we were allowed to wash the dishes, we could scrape the food off the plates and apply the soap. Somebody else had to wash and dry them because we were unclean. Us Baha'i prisoners weren't allowed any crafts like knitting. Maybe they thought we'd start a riot armed with our knitting needles. And of course we weren't allowed any Baha'i books to read. Oh, how I wish I'd memorized more of the writings. Oh, but those Baha'i women we were imprisoned with, they were so strong. They knew so many of the writings by heart. They could recite whole tablets of Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha by heart. They were so learned. Oh, I don't mean that they all had university degrees, although of course some did. But they knew the writings of their faith and how to apply them in their lives. And those writings, quite simply, kept them alive.
Oh, Mom, what have they done to you?
Quick, get some water. We need to bathe her back and her feet before they become infected. Hayazat, you are a lioness. 3 days now they have done this to you. How can anybody endure this kind of pain?
I heard there were some executions, but I don't know who they were.
Oh, it seems as all that's left to us is prayer.
Rely upon God, trust in Him, praise Him, and call Him continually to mind. He verily turneth trouble into ease, and sorrow into solace.
Stop that noise!
To utter peace, He verily.
Speak up and I'll flog you all! Quiet, I say!
Oh God! What does it come to when we can no longer say a prayer together anymore?
Farhadjo, it's okay. It was his time. You know that he was ready when they came for it.
I know. But why does it have to come down to this?
It's a simple question. Do you believe? Yes? Then you die. No, you get to live. It's a choice that we're all going to have to make eventually. Do we stand by our beliefs and accept the consequences, whatever they may be? Or do we deny our faith and cling to a life in which every breath reminds us that we have forsaken our own soul? Dr. Arari, he knew what his answer to that question would be. He was at peace with it.
And what about us? What about when our moment comes?
Then, my friend, we can only hope and pray that we will be as strong.
Learn from the master of love. In the schoolhouse of oneness, Baha'u'llah says, that prison was our schoolhouse. We learned lessons of love and strength and courage from the Baha'i women we were imprisoned with. We learned the writings by heart from each other, sharing what we had memorized over the collective years of our lives. And we were tested, too, on everything that we had learned.
There were 3 kinds of tests. The first was written. Always the same questions. Are you a Baha'i? Are you willing to recant your faith? Who are the other members of your Baha'i community? Who serves on your committees? We always gave the same answers. And there was a misunderstanding about the grading. You see, they thought we failed the test when we said we would not recant, but we knew that was the right answer. So when we passed the first test,
There was the second kind of test, the oral exam, when we went before the Islamic judges. One judge said to me, I have heard that you have a good voice, that you chant nicely. Do it for me now, chant something. As if I were a performing animal or something. I cannot do it that way, I told him. What do you mean? He thundered. You would have to sit respectfully, with your hands folded on your chest, before I could read anything. At first he refused, but after a while he did it. So I recited a short prayer, and when I finished, he said, why didn't you sing it? I wanted to hear you sing it. Oh no, I replied. I only chant from my heart, not in front of you. Take her away, he shouted.
Sometimes they would blindfold us. They would put us in a room with our interrogators and question us for hours. Your parents have recanted, they would say. They're waiting for you right now at the mosque. Just sign the paper and you can be with them. My parents are strong. They would not do that, I would reply. No, you are wrong, they would insist. They have recanted. Then I no longer believe in my parents. In what language do you want me to tell you? Why don't you just leave me alone? My whole being is Baha'u'llah. My love is Baha'u'llah. My heart is dedicated to Baha'u'llah. The judge was infuriated. Then I will rip out your heart from your chest, he shouted. And when I replied, then my heart will call and cry out, Baha'u'llah, Baha'u'llah. He could think of nothing else to say and stormed out of the room.
And then there was the third kind of test. For some, this was the most difficult. We all prayed for the strength to get us through it. They would bring us here after the mental torture sessions, when we were exhausted and disoriented. They would make sure we were only wearing a single layer of clothing, so the pain would not be dulled. Then they would blindfold us again and tie us face down on the bed. They would talk to us calmly, almost gently.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
It would be so easy for you to get up and walk away from all of this.
All you have to do is to tell us that you no longer believe in Baha'u'llah.
And while they were saying this in their soft voices, there would be a strange sound in the background. The first time, I didn't know what it was right away.
And then I realized that the guard was whirling the wire cable around and around in the air for what seemed like hours. My body would grow more and more tense in anticipation of the first strike, waiting for it. Waiting for it. It was a good thing we were tied down. Our bodies would have hit the ceiling after the first blow when it finally came.
about to flog us on our back and on the soles of our feet. 74 blows. That was the prison rule. But they would flog us first about 25 strikes. That is when the flesh is raw and the nerves are numb. They would then pause to wait for the feeling to return. And then they would start over, counting again from number 1.
I don't know how we survived the floggings. Physical strength, endurance, these weren't enough. The pain was too intense. When that's happening to you, you think, why is this happening to me? Why me? I can't stand it anymore. And you can't bear the pain by yourself. Somewhere in the middle of all of it, you realize that, and you know you have a simple choice to make. The guards, they want you to deny your faith. That's the only reason they're doing this to you. And if you deny your faith, the pain will stop. But then you realize that your faith is your life, and you're not going to give it up. So you can't bear the pain anymore, and you're not willing to do what it takes to stop the pain. Really then, there's only one way to deal with what's happening to you. You begin to pray.
You turn your thoughts away from your body, away from the pain, and towards Baha'u'llah. And as you pray, something very strange happens. Somehow you enter a place where there is no pain. Oh, your body is still there, on that bed, enduring it.
But your spirit isn't in that body.
It's somewhere else. It's hard to explain. But back in that cell, we would speak about it. And we all had that out-of-body experience as we prayed during flogging.
So yes, there was physical pain, sometimes to the limits of human endurance. But there was also something else, something that's hard to describe. Perhaps the best way to describe it is to say that it was kind of a divine sweetness, a connection to the world of the spirit that we had never experienced before. Many times we had dreams which took us to the spiritual realm and strengthened us and even gave us a glimpse into our destiny. A destiny which wasn't always what we had imagined or chosen for ourselves.
Mona, tell us about your dream again. I love it when you tell us about your dream.
Really? You want to hear that old story again? Aren't you tired of it?
No.
How many times have I told it to you?
Mona, we will never get tired of hearing about that dream. How could we?
All right then. Well, you know that I had this dream several months before they arrested me. It was a very vivid dream. I still remember it like it was yesterday. In my dream, I was in a beautiful blue room when Baha'u'llah himself suddenly entered. And he set 3 boxes in front of me. And then he looked at me and said, Mona, we know which one of these you will choose, but we want to hear from your own mouth, of course. He went on, we've also made a selection for you. First box contained a very beautiful decorated red cape. Baha'u'llah put it on me and asked, do you like it? It is beautiful. I said, but what does it mean? Baha'u'llah replied, this is the robe of martyrdom. Oh, I said, I don't want to be a martyr. So Baha'u'llah put that cape away and opened the second box. This box contained a beautiful black cape. Again, Baha'u'llah put it on me and asked, do you like it? It is beautiful.
I said, but what does it mean? Baha'u'llah replied, this is the robe of sorrow. Oh, I said, I don't like sorrow. So he put that cape away too, and opened the third box. This box contained a blue cape. And when Baha'u'llah put it on me, I again asked what it meant. This is the robe of service, he replied. I like this one the best. I said, I love to serve. I choose this one. So you see, even though I thought that I was able to see the path that had made, apparently God has a different plan.
We didn't go into that prison as perfect human beings. And we weren't always strong. Sometimes we were lonely, or depressed, or angry. But something happened to us in there. Something that's hard to describe. In that prison, we made that spiritual journey that each one of us must make, no matter where we are or under what conditions. It's a journey in which we are asked to sacrifice ourselves. And if we do, if we choose to do that, we become so much more than what we were before.
I had a dream last night. Listen to this, Farhad. You might write a poem about it someday. I had a dream that Baha'u'llah himself came into our cell, and he had a red flower in his hand, a rose. And he said, this is for one of you. Who do you think it'll be this time?
That's easy. It's gonna be my turn this time.
Come on, man.
I'm serious. Just wait and see. I can feel it.
Hedayat Savashi. Hedayat Savashi. Come immediately to the front office of the prison. Hedayat Savashi.
No. You see? I told you. It's finally my turn. Now I must go. It's not every day one gets an invitation to meet his beloved.
Please, please, I must go with them. We came together. We must leave together.
Not you, this one only.
No! No! I must go with them! Hedayat! Hedayat! Hedayat. Hedayat, you're my best friend. We must leave together.
No, my friend. You must stay here. Today's not your day. Continue to recite from Hafez. Continue to write your own beautiful poetry. I will be listening to it in the next world, fam. Goodbye, Jamshid.
Henayat! Henayat! What happened?
Well, why have you returned?
Have they changed their minds?
No. No. They were afraid of a riot. A riot! Did you hear that? I heard my name. And then again, louder. And again, louder. And it got louder, and it got louder, until it became a battle cry. And then they sent me here for a few minutes more, until things settled down. It's like I'm in the waiting room for the next world a little while longer. Tea, chai. Let's have one more cup of chai before I go.
Henayat? I know this is a crazy question to be asking you now. But I've always wondered this.
So us, Jamshid, we're never gonna get another chance.
Well, I know there's this girl, and I know you liked her very much. I could see it in your eyes sometimes. And you know, she really liked you too. I remember when people would ask you why you would never marry, you would always reply, there's a time for everything.
That's right.
But there wasn't time for that. For marriage. For you. Was there?
No, Jamshid Jum. Not in this world.
This revolution, it's interfered with so much. With our plans for the future. Our education, even our service.
Jamshid. There will be others who will have the freedom to serve. We must leave that to them. That is the part that God has given to them. We all have our moment to do what has been given to us to do, to play the part that God has given us in this tremendous divine drama that He has written for the world. How can we ask for anything else? I think this is really it this time. Goodbye, my friends.
On this journey, this path we are walking, Baha'u'llah says that really, we are only one step away from the spiritual realm. One step. And with that, we enter a world of eternal beauty, garden of happiness. Just one step. But it was hard sometimes to hear that people we loved had taken that step. Even though we often joked about taking it ourselves.
Here, Shireen, I have some cucumber to put on your eyes. I know how you like it.
Oh, Shireen, who are you making yourself pretty for?
Well, I want to go into the next world looking beautiful, Mrs. Ashagi.
Well, when I go, I want to have a big send-off. And I'll be watching to see who sends the biggest bouquet of flowers to my funeral. In fact, I think I should put in my order now. Long-stemmed roses, that's what I want.
And the longer the stems and the bigger the bouquet, the bigger the grief of the person who sent it, right?
Of course.
Well, I'll be watching to see who cries the longest and the loudest at my funeral. Oh, I can see it all now. There'll be that old lady who lives next door to me. She never liked me, not one little bit. And I bet she'll be crying her eyes out.
You know, I hope people will be happy at my funeral.
I agree. I think I'd rather have them laugh than cry.
Yeah.
I do hope someone survives to tell her story. It should be you, Ruhi.
Nah. It should be Mona. She's the youngest.
Nah, it should be Mrs. Eshragi. She's the oldest.
Well, no, it should be Zareen, because she will immortalize us in poetry.
How about Shirin, because she's the sweetest?
Roya's June, what's the matter?
The guard just told me another execution today.
Did they say who it was?
Was it someone we knew?
What did they say? No.
It was Hideyoshi.
God bless his little.
Finally, some of us were given the opportunity to offer our lives, to prove our faith with our last breath, and some were not. Some went home, and some did not. And that was perhaps the biggest mystery of all. Why were some chosen and others weren't? If you weren't, you asked yourself, wasn't I good enough? But answers weren't easy. And even when your name was called, you still weren't sure, because there was the same routine for release as it was to be taken for execution. You never really knew when your name was called.
Ruhi, do you remember that passage? The one from Abdul Baha's tablet? I think it goes, "Ye are the angels, if your feet be firm.
Your spirits rejoice.
Your secret thoughts pure.
Your eyes console.
Your ears open. Your breasts dilated with joy. And your souls gladdened." I've been thinking about that passage all morning. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be such an angel?
Don't you think we've known some?
Yes, we have. Have we not?
Not yet. Can't you just see him shitting? Telling jokes, making the other angels laugh? Can't you just see him?
Yes, I definitely can. Dr. Amari, I know Mrs. APU is gone now too.
Ah, yes. I'm glad she's been released from all this suffering. I like to think of her dancing in the next world, released from all of this.
Do you remember how afraid I used to be when we first started visiting the prison? How long ago that all seems now. And today, during session, when they asked me how long I would persist in my belief in Baha'u'llah, I told them I will remain firm right up to the moment of execution. Right up to the moment of execution. I wanted them to know that I would give my life without hesitation for this love that I have in my heart. You know, I would only be sorry not to be able to serve.
Rui Jahanpour, come to the main office immediately. Rui Jahanpour.
They called my name. They called my name, Shirin.
Yes, they did, Rui. Hurry, before the guards become angry. Maybe they're releasing you.
Don't be crazy, Shirin. Why would they release me without releasing you? We were arrested together. Surely they'll release us together.
Nonsense. They're releasing you. I'm sure of it. Quick!
This isn't right, Shirin.
You changed my mind.
We've been through everything together.
And we'll be together again. I'm sure of it. You must go, my dear. Be strong. Run, Rui! Run!
Who can say why? But I was released. And I never saw my beloved friends again. I heard about them, though. They were hung together, 10 women, one after another, on the 18th of June, 1983. Ezat Eshagi and her daughter, Roya. Simin Saberi. Zareen Mohimi. Akhtar Sabet. Mashid Nuremond. Nusrat Yaldai. Tahir Siavashi. My dear Shirin Delvand, and the youngest of them all, Mona Mahmoudnejad. I am told she asked to be hung last so that she could pray for the others as they went to their death. Do you think they were sad on the day they were executed? Were they crying? No. The bus driver later said that they were singing all the way to the place of the execution. He couldn't believe it. He asked them, "Do you know where I am taking you?" "Oh, yes," they said. It's difficult to understand, but I think that they each knew that they were about to take that one step, and that was the cause of their joy. Sometimes I think they were the lucky ones. Dr. Ahrar, Hidoyat Siavashi, Mr. Eshabi, Yadola Mahmoudnejad, Mr. Siavashi. It's difficult to understand why they were killed. But I know one thing, they were prepared for it, each and every one of them. They had made their private pact about it with Baha'u'llah. They had reached their journey's goal. But for us, the journey continues. Each and every day, we make decisions about which path our journey will take. Which way are you going? I hope I see you along the way.